Morning, seventh graders. There's not much time left. I know we didn't have much time in class together, but it's been fun. And I've been challenging myself to try to make this as fun as possible from home. Um, Big shout out to Mr. Euchrin for helping me this year because he's been a seventh grade teacher for a while. Uh, Today, the lessons go all week. So 8th through 11th is the whole week's lesson. You have two projects of your choice. It says in here that there's some notes from last week, and it's about the Cold War, and it's the major events of the Cold War. Two appetizers and one main course is one option. Appetizers are Nuzellas. So you can do two Nuzellas and one project, or you can do two main courses, which is two projects. They're not really projects. It's like quick little things in Google Drive. I'm going to show you. So this slideshow is where you run out of. Everything goes through here. And then if I present this, it makes more sense if you present this. It just looks like weirdness if you don't present this. All right. Baba's Kitchen is like a fake restaurant, right? And with the flags of Ukraine, Russia, and I believe that's Bulgaria down there. So the idea is I did everything in Spanish too. La cocina de abuela, right? La mejor comida casera. Here we go. This is like your home screen. Cold War selections checklist. As you finish, drag an X over each item. No, don't even worry about that. Just do them. I'll change that. Click on the picture to go to this assignment directions rubric. Actually, I'm going to add those X's for you to drag. And then you can put them over top of the things you chose to do. The appetizers are all Nuzellas. And if I click on these, borscht soup, pierogi, blini with caviar, Olivier salad. If I click on it, it takes me to the directions, and then I know that I have to do this Nuzella. So borscht is a Nuzella on the Cuban Missile Crisis. And the nice thing about this one is you can do it in Espanol también. It looks really small. Sorry, it's scaled down. In order for me to grade Nuzellas and look at who did them, I have to scroll down, and you can't scroll down. The screen's real small. Get out of here. Oh, surveys. Oh, come on. Well, whatever. I'll put myself in front of there. The Cuban Missile Crisis, October 1962, is a really good Nuzella. It's part of what happened in Black Ops 1, the video game. It's where we found that there were subs and possible nukes on Cuba, and we put sanctions on them. Very crazy. So that's one you can do. And just the 4 questions is that part of the assignment. So those 4 questions usually would get you an independent practice grade of collected A, but in this circumstance, the stakes are raised. So your 2 final projects, this is 2 grades, 2 quiz formative grades, right? The first one is if you do Nuzella, you have to do 2 of them because each one's worth 50 points. So 50 points for just doing those 4 questions, right? And then if I'm in the slideshow, I can just push home. It takes me back to the original page. And then I just go through. All right, and then I can drag an X. Mr. Wagner hasn't added these X's yet, but it's fine. And believe me, if you already handed this project in, I'm pretty sure I could figure out which ones you did. But if you do the other ones, I did blini with caviar. That's nuclear fallout shelters, like the level of Nuketown in Call of Duty. The idea of that craziness. You can do that. Olivier salad is about NATO. NATO is the group that the United States teamed up in order to protect each other against the what became the Warsaw Pact, Russia and their friends. Push the home screen. The other one I didn't show you was Pierogi. Pierogi is the space race where we're both trying to get a better advantage in space. So the Russians launched Sputnik first, but then we launched something like that very soon, and then we also got a man on the moon before they did. So that's your four. Those are the four Nuzellas. Any two can get you one of the two project grades. Entrees down here. Move myself up here. I'm flying. These are the four entrees: kotletka, stuffed cabbage with vinaigrette, baked fish pie, cloves. Okay, so kotletka is a newspaper article. You need to be an American journalist. This is called a raft assignment. I think you do this sometimes in ELA as well. You have to be an American journalist in Cuba or Puerto Rico during the Cuban Missile Crisis. You have to explain what's going on with the Cuban Missile Crisis. It can be done in docs or slides and include the following: who, what, where, when, why, right? When you think of who, you have to think of like the Russians and Castro is the leader of Cuba and what's going on there. What are they possibly doing? Why this is a problem. So the what and the why kind of go together. Excuse me. They're keeping nukes, and there's nuclear submarines. So you are concerned, and the U.S. is going to do the following. And then you might have to look up a little bit more about what the U.S. did as a result. Economic sanctions, and it helped force the Russian leader at the time, his name was Nikita Khrushchev, and then he kind of backed down and it de-escalated. But there was a small time where we were thought the end of the world, nuke war was happening. So what year is this? Always goes in the beginning of your article. If you're in a newspaper, it always helps. And where else to put? Where? You could always say that. You could, like the first one, you newspaper articles, kids don't really read newspapers anymore. Usually it says the title of your article, and then it says Santo Domingo, right? Actually, that wouldn't make any sense because that's not even the right country. Hello. Oh my God. Why can't I think of a name of a city? Where's Santo Domingo, Puerto Rico? Wow. You always put like the name of the city. If you really want to go the extra mile and get extra credit, help your grade, mention the Bay of Pigs invasion, which failed, and add that into your article. If you go with stuffed cabbage, you need to make posters that are encouraging the United States to go to war. We ended up going to war in Korea and Vietnam during the Cold War in order to domino theory. Domino theory was stop communism from spreading like dominoes all over. Okay. You might be able to look up some propaganda posters, but you can't just copy and paste a propaganda poster that was from the Korean War or the Vietnam War. You can paste some pictures. You can use a slogan, but you can't just take an entire poster and put it into your project. I will have to give you like plagiarism and say, try again. So American military of the time. So if it's 1950s, then you're talking about the Korean War. If it's 1960s, you're talking about the Vietnam War. So you can Google image search like 1960s or Vietnam helicopter. Like the things that they had at that time would be neat. You can always like put like the nuke in the background. Like, yeah, we'll use this if we have to. You have to explain domino theory real quick. I kind of explained that already. And then it just says, to arms, we must stop the Soviet. Sometimes they have the Russian bear as the Soviet Union, and we have to win the Cold War. So this is kind of easy, because it's almost the same thing twice. There could be a lot of copying and pasting from the first one you do to the second one, except you have to have slightly different military technology and the enemy's slightly different. Also, what's going on there is a little bit different, right? Well, Kinda. Northern section of the country is kind of trying to take over the southern section of the country is the easy answer for both of them. But baked fish pie, I think this is the one that's like quote unquote tougher. So this is briefly mentioned, but it is on your final test. And Gorbachev was the president of Russia, I guess you call him that, at the end of the Cold War. The Cold War, the United States won because of our grit and determination mixed with the fact that we just had more money to spend. So if we get into a space race and you're trying to make weapons and they're expensive, millions and billions of dollars, and you're trying to build nukes, you're trying to make a lot of AK-47s, you're trying to make a lot of fighter jets and all that stuff, and you're giving free samples to people all over the world to help them fight against the other team, and you're trying to have satellites and spaceships in order to look better than the other country. You have to spend billions of dollars, right? Like Stealth Bomber is a really cool fighter plane that's unidentified by radar, but it costs like, whatever, 50 billion or whatever it is, $200 billion for one of them. It's like, what? So we didn't just like scare the Russians out of doing this anymore. They started going not bankrupt, but like close to bankrupt, like really damaging their economy. So Gorbachev kind of was visionary and probably saw that, but it looked like he became like a scapegoat for his own country of being like somebody who failed. But what else are you going to do if you're running out of money from all the spending? So he did two things called perestroika and glasnost. They are on the Quizlet. They are on the final test, those two terms, I believe. And, well, I'll show you that. I'll get out of the slideshow in a minute to finish. Actually, I'll get out of the slideshow right now. Unless, let me see. No, I won't. Haha. Okay. There is a quiz to help study for the final test. It's not linked for whatever reason. That's interesting. So I need to link this. Now it's good. And I'm going to add the link for the quizzes. I can't put a quizzes assignment up too early because then the window closes and it's no fun. This quizzes should have those vocab words in it. I just wanted to discuss them. All right, so Gorbachev's on the final test. Maybe I cut perestroika and glasnost. Thought I had him in here. Nope, just Gorbachev's on the final test. Well, that's good for you. The other way to look at that is right here. There's a newsala to use if you do this one because it's really important stuff. You can't. Also, Gorbachev has a like strawberry birthmark on his bald head that's like very reminiscent of like the late 80s, early 90s as being like a, oh, that's Gorbachev, Perestroika and glasnost. See, he's got his like little red birthmark going on. All right. Perestroika means restructuring. Bring the economy of the Soviet Union up to the level of the Western countries. You can't try to be like the United States if you're not the United States, except for if you're China, because then you become like the United States so fast that you hurt your own country. Glasnost means openness. The second important part of this is reform efforts, which referred to opening the political system, democracy, voting, not just like a communist dictator like Stalin. So if you change the government and you change the economy, it'll fix everything, except it didn't. It was too late. Communism had became like a failure because of his changes. Not really, they just evolved, but we'll just keep the simple answer. So you have to basically throw not Putin, Mr. Gorbachev under the bus. Create a Russian propaganda poster that is angry with Gorbachev for losing the Cold War and explain how he blew it. Condemn Gorbachev. Talk trash. Explain reasons he doomed. Let's present to make this larger. Explain reasons he doomed your USSR 25 points. You have to use the words perestroika and glasnost. Okay? They're right in that Newsella. Explain how some countries broke free. 25 points. It mentions it in anything you read. The Soviet Union fell apart 1989 to 1991. Countries left, and you can look up countries leaving. Add it in there. You can always make some kind of like proud statement at the end. It's 25 points to make a proud statement that the war is not over and Russia will be, the dominant force again. So in 1991, 1992, you're very hurt feelings, and then you just attack Gorbachev because your country used to be number 2 in the world and almost number 1, and now it's way different, and you lost, and it's, I don't know. It's tough. Like we the way we're hurting right now as a country is different, but that same kind of losing feeling. Although, I mean, personally, I think it's more like we're getting somewhere finally in this country, but that's another topic. Plov with lamb or chicken is the last one. This is about Putin, who's the current president of Russia. This is something else we didn't talk about too much. He was KGB, which is like their CIA, and then he's so dominant in politics right now. He's pretty much elected every 4 to 6 years, and he's president more than 2 times, which is not illegal in Russia. He can kind of do whatever he wants. But so have a picture of Putin in your slides or doc. And then we're going to talk about why we should be worried about him. List 5 of his accomplishments. Include 2 reasons why the United States might be worried about him. Explain why most Russians like him. So based on just on that video, it talks about most of that stuff. Anything else you need to supplement, you can look up on the website if you're choosing. Like the Russians love him. My mother-in-law loves the guy. He can't do any wrong. It's really scary. I guess it's kind of like half the country thinks about like our president right now. Except Putin's like this rugged outdoors guy. Reminds me of one of our presidents named Teddy Roosevelt. He's like on horseback and he's camping, and then he's like shooting guns, and he's playing hockey with current or former really good Russian players that used to be in the NHL. Then he's like chopping wood and like he's always on like their media, and he on like the TV, and he's got like no shirt and he's chopping wood, and he's like I don't know, it's a Russian thing, I guess. You have to be like strong like bull and tough, and I don't know, like the news always, but like Putin was away and this, and then he's like chopping wood. It's like, okay, get that he's a rugged outdoorsman, and he's got his little, like cross for the Orthodox religion and all that jazz, and he does everything the right way. But the United States, does he act in the best interests of us? No, that's what you have to kind of think about watching this video. So this one might be too tough for you, but it's a really neat topic. it's kind of like if you want to take this outside of what we already learned and learn something new, this would be a good one because he's going to be a president going forward too. And it always depends on who our president is, what our relations are with Russia. So we'll see. Our current president's been more sympathetic than most to Russia, but that could change if he's not elected, or who knows what could happen, right? All right, so I don't have a home. Oh, my face was covering the symbol. All right, so there's a Quizlet to help you study, and it might help you with some of the answers for what we're doing in these projects. The final quizzes assignment is already in Google Classroom. Let me show you that. In your Google Classroom, it says Final Russian History Test. Then you can click on the quizzes. There's one graded. I don't know how it could be one graded. Interesting. Well, this is open till the last day of school. You can do this anytime. So you could technically finish all the work for me today, Monday, and then take this test and everything. And the quizzes, you can take as many times as you want to get the best score you can. So you could technically finish everything for social studies today if you would not wanted to and be done. And then spend there any other time. If your grade's not perfect, you can always do things, fix things that you already did to get your grade higher and higher and higher. That's what you do if you finish everything early. So technically, you could knock out the 2 projects and take the final test, and then start emailing me about what you can do to bring up your grade even more. And then fix older assignments by looking back into the classwork at the different tabs, all the different dates. The quizzes can be tough. I definitely suggest having the Quizlet open, wink, wink, while you're doing the quizzes assignment, because most of the answers are right there. It's going to be tough, though, because we know that quizzes is timed, but as long as you get the right answers, you can always have fun and play the video game part against the other students, but the most important part is getting an A on your final test. So that's it for this week. If you have any other comments or questions, you can always message me, or what everybody else likes to do is leave the message below the assignment, and then I see, Google Classroom, private message, and then I answer it below. I wish you the best of luck. I hope everybody does well this week and next on these 3 assignments. They're all stronger sized assignments, 2 formatives, 1 summative. And I also, based on how much homework you did this semester, the individual practice grade, they all say collected next to them. Every time you did an individual practice, it's collected or missing. Then I do an average of how many you have, and that goes into the final grade. So the final grade for individual practice it'll be greenish in the Power School, and it'll actually have a number grade, and that's your average for homework. How good or poor you did, from the slowest score is an 8, and the highest score is 100 for your homework. So that's another grade. You're what's that? That's your average of how well you did at homework during this marking period. Okay. All right. Good luck. Best wishes. Email me, whatever you need. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. All right, guys. Good luck. Oh, no. When your computer is frozen, what do you do? Dear computer, stop recording me now. I need to do other things. This video.